Bed Bath & Beyond's effort to find a buyer ahead of a possible Chapter 11 filing have stalled, according to Bloomberg. The company is likely to file for bankruptcy protection without a bidder in place for assets, including its bye-bye baby brand, which might put Bed Bath on the route to liquidation. And the folks at Morningstar have indicated that additional insight has been seen from its 10Q filing as of the 26th of January. That was Thursday, the 26th of January 2023, surrounding the firm's financial duress. Okay, so most importantly, it was noted that on the 13th of January, the firm defaulted on its credit facilities, resulting in both more costly debt service and the acceleration of repayment. At the end of the third quarter, Bed Bath had $925 million outstanding across its two asset-based facilities, now represented in short-term debt, along with $186 million in letters of credit and with $1 billion in senior notes. However, with just $154 million in cash and equivalents at the end of the third quarter and limited resources for liquidity, they believe time is running out for Bed Bath & Beyond as a public equity. Okay, so the company burned more than $300 million in cash from operations in the third quarter and nearly $900 million year to date through November, indicating indicating no headway has been made in remedying weak profitability in the business. The 10Q filing conveyed Bed Bath does not have sufficient resources to repay the amounts under the credit facilities and with no accommodating lender to work with it. So they think bankruptcy is the only option left. They can't see any outcome where cost-cutting, store closures and landlord concessions would provide enough of a lifeline to remain a going concern. Even with the sale of the bye-bye baby brand, proceeds will likely fail to cover the repayment of defaulted loans. The elevated liquidity constraints by Bed Bath is the elevated liquidity constraints Bed Bath is operating with gives them more confidence in their $0 fair value estimate, as they assume bankruptcy is a near-term inevitability. Given a holiday season that is likely to print further sales declines, tragic operating margin losses to the tune of 20%, and incremental cash bonds, they think Bed Bath could be worth more to financial buyers once in bankruptcy. Private equity companies have long focused on turning around storied consumer brands once liberated from onerous debt and lease agreements. So yeah, it seems that the folks at Morningstar are cheering a bankruptcy move. They're cheering a bankruptcy move, yeah, inevitably, but that is probably what is going to happen. So given all of that, we have that BBBY stock is in a strong bearish trend, no doubt about that. All of its moving averages, rather both the 200-day moving average and the MACD histogram, are falling, and it's also lagging the S&P 500. Okay, so given all of that as well, we can also see that the short interest is at 45.88%, and short squeeze is saying that it's increased by 37%. So we have on the daily chart, okay, we have no downward projection on trading view, no downward projection. We have an upward projection of 5.95. That's really ambitious, 5.95, and 23.61. There's nothing, 5.95. There's nothing in between. The projections are so spaced out. So let's look at the weekly chart and see what the projections are. So on the weekly chart, we have a projection of $4.7, which is pretty much in line with what we saw on that daily chart as well. And then after that, we also have a 16.40. That's really interesting, really interesting. Okay, let's look at the daily chart again. Upper projection of $5.87. Yeah, okay. So BBBY stock in still trying to find a bidder, find a buyer before it files for bankruptcy, but hasn't found any. Short interest at 45.88%, and with an increase of 37%. Upper projections on trading view based on the algos we used is 5.95. There is absolutely no guarantee that is going to happen. There is no guarantee that's going to happen. We know of late that given the combination of this short interest it has and the possible bankruptcy in it's likely to face, then something interesting might happen to the stock. That's probably that's why the algos are projecting that sort of move. So it's really interesting. Really interesting. So market cap of the stock is 299.2 million. So around roughly 145 million dollars is locked up in that short interest. So if they actually succeed in buying back, then that will be good. But we all know very well that these days we have naked short sellers, and they may be involved in a BBBY stock. They may be involved, and they may not buy back the stock. And the obvious news of bankruptcy is looming, so these guys are going to wait out. So even though we have a projection of $5.87, it may not materialize. There's every likelihood that if all those shots, assuming a significant amount of that 45% short interest are bought back, there's a good chance it can rally towards this sort of level, 5.87. But we know very well that that may not really happen. So see what you make of BBBY stock, and thank you very much for watching this video.